is because if, to quote the person who came after you at SIS, Carrie McClellan, I'm just going to say this little quote about your ability, your master teaching of being able to keep students engaged. So here's her quote. He's like the king of engagement. He has such a gift to grab kids' attention and keep it. I've even seen him work with 200 kids at once and just have them ready to do whatever he wants. It's like magic. And this is something that, once again, I didn't really fully appreciate and comprehend until I had to try to do it myself. But I was wondering if you could kind of speak about kind of your approach to keeping that engagement, be it face-to-face lessons or online.
I read that quote somewhere. I think it was near retirement year, somewhere. Okay. My 33 years in the classroom was a myth, a total myth. I don't mean miss, I mean myth. And I say that with a lot of intention. And here's why. I thought long and hard about this, probably about, as I was a recipient of this Prime Minister's Award, where they asked me the same question. How do you keep kids engaged? How do you do this? And we had these best practice sessions with, there was 15 of us from across Canada, and that question came up. And of course, when my turn came, rather than be tongue-tied, I knew I had to say something, but I had given it a lot of thought for weeks and weeks and weeks up to there. I wanted to be articulate about why people, Carrie would say that, or anybody would say that. And I do believe I know the reason. And this is for the individual. It's an individual thing. What I felt I did, you may characterize it differently having been in my classroom, and other people may characterize it even differently again with their experience in my classroom. But I felt that I created a different, I'm going to call it world, reality, that they could walk into, that they could park everything else outside at the door, like a movie theater. I used to have a sign in my classroom, 7 shows a day. 7 shows, and I called it edutainment. Because if I didn't go to work and love it, and love each of the 45-minute sessions 7 times a day, I don't know how I could get up every morning, put one foot in front of the other, and go and do that. The privilege of working with students is never, and has never, and is still not lost on me. You may have an impact on them, and you may not hear about it until they're 35. You may not hear about it until they're 40, telling their children about when they played trombone in SIS band or whatever. And it's not that I'm looking for that kind of feedback, but what I do know is that for me, the job was a different world inside of that thing called a band room, which had 5 walls splayed out, and things that I would say, and you would be a witness to this, things that I would say to certain students would be, for your viewers, you have to take this in context, borderline insulting sometimes. But kids used to love it when I would insult
I'm just
them.
thinking of things now. There'd always be like, there'd be one kid wearing an orange shirt. Like, what is it? National Pylon Day?
Yeah, exactly. You remembered.
Or my favorite one. This is useless for the podcast format, but if we be like really getting loose, you'd be like, "Hey, cheap fireworks."
What, is there a book on this now that I? This is all my.
I was a
get your own
sponge.
material. Get your own material.
I never said I use it. I just.
Yeah. I mean, I took it to the nth degree, and I took it to the materialistic degree when I introduced the Dork Awards and the Grand Dork Prize and all of this kind of stuff. So essentially, and if you follow the Demented Thinking here, I was creating this world where certain characters in the band room, students would remember certain things I said to, or said about, or characterized, or in any way, shape, or form made light of something they said, something they did,
Mm-hmm.
or a way they looked, or an expression on their face. And for me to keep doing that, or exacerbating that entire scene, is you keep using that and keep reinvesting those same things from those individual characters back into the next class, or the next week, or to the next rehearsal, or to make another comment on top of that, or to add to the pain the insult you've already inflicted, in a kind, nice,
Yes, always.
kind-hearted, jolly sort of way. And I truly believe, I could be wrong, I truly believe that they now came into the band room with anticipation of, what is he going to say next? What is he going to do next? What ridiculous comment is he going to make next?
Right.
Because if they are engaged that way, if that's the way they came in, then I'm giving them a break from whatever they walked in to my doorway with. And if they can park whatever baggage they brought from home, as you know as well as I do, some of the home lives of children are not the best.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can have an alternate reality of sorts that they can be themselves in, and that they can see somebody poking fun at somebody else, or they can do that, or they can just feel not only safe, but loved in a way that we're open to saying these kinds of things and to playing these roles, that at the end of 45 minutes, they get to the threshold in the doorway and it's off to math class. Okay, I'm going to another reality, but I was just in there. That was cool. That's why I made a huge trip at a band trip, a huge deal at a band trips. That's why I made a huge deal out of the Dork Awards. I said, the gold plaques are nice. The gold standards are nice.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give you this roll of toilet paper that has verbal diarrhea written all over it as first place for this. And so you make up things that are pertinent, specifically pertinent to the child, and they feel that you've connected with them. And hence, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Right.
He took enough time to find out something about me to make fun of me, and I love it, because everybody
Yeah.
comes in and they wanted to be insulted next,
Right.
because it made them the center of attention, or they had their time on stage or whatever. But I did it in a very loving way. It was always that. So I think in terms of engagement, I was creating a world where they felt safe in,
Mm-hmm.
where they knew they were going to come in, and it was another reality that they were just going to have fun in for 45 minutes.
Right.
And then at the end of that, back to I'm not going to say their whole lives.
Yeah. They're
But
sad.
sad and lonely. But I do want to say this. That people used to say, why did you have these checklists of skills that you insisted students had these checklists done before they earned a seat on the bus, before they got to go to the band trips and to these big Atlantic band festivals and so on? And I said, well, it's not part of my job description to go with you for 3 days to Nova Scotia or to another province or to wherever else. But I'm going to make it so worth your while. You are going to have so much fun. This experience is going to be worth you putting in this blood, sweat, and tears on getting your chops together on trumpet or on snare drum or on flute or whatever, and doing all your scales, your arpeggios, lip slurs, and all of these things. Get these all done, check them off, so that you can get on this bus, because man, you're not going to believe the time we're going to have.
Yep.
That comes from a man who said this phrase that I'll never forget, and I use it to this day. There's no harm when you're pursuing excellence and having as much fun as you can. And that's Glenn Edison. That's the way he taught his basketball teams, his volleyball teams. Any pursuit of excellence without fun almost wasn't worth it. because you didn't get to experience humanity, your human condition, striving for excellence, but also emoting along the way, so that aesthetic, you're being served aesthetically, you're being served intellectually. Um, but when he would say that there's no harm in having fun when you're pursuing excellence, it doesn't all have to be work, which says to me, and I'm sure your listeners have heard this a million times, that's why they call it play the trumpet, not work the trumpet. It's play. It's music is play. It has
Yeah.
to be play first. When it becomes work in the industry and profession that I was in, then you've run the risk of losing somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's play and you focus on play, I used to say to the kids that the reason why play and fun are so closely together is that they have the same number of letters. And then I'd get this blank stare and nobody would say anything. And then I'd go on, we'd play a piece of music and then we'd stop. I'd fix tuning here or doing that. And then a hand would go up and say, but play has 4 letters, something like that. But that to me, if I had created a world for them for 45 minutes, they were mine. They were pliable, malleable. I could do things and get results in a way that I couldn't do if I was just there to open up a book and say, okay, page 15, exercise 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, let's go.
Yep.
And it's nowhere near as fun for me either.
Yeah, no, that is.
Does that
true.
make sense?
Yeah, that is a speed.